Hello everyone and welcome to our class. Our topic for today is about the historical background of pre-Baroque, Renaissance, and Baroque music. This is the third lesson in music for the first quarter. For our most essential learning competency, in today's lesson, you will be able to relate medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque music to other art forms and its history within the era. As for our lecture outline, the key learning points are: first, medieval period, its history and style; second, the rebirth of the arts, or also known as the Renaissance period; third, Baroque style and its origin; and lastly, lecture wrap-up. According to Robert M. Edsel, from The Greatest Treasure Hunt in History, The Story of the Monuments Men, no age lives entirely alone. Every civilization is formed not merely by its own achievements, but by what it has inherited from the past. So from here, we could see that there is a relationship between what happened in the past and whatever we have at present. So that is the reason why we are studying the history of music, so that we could understand kung paano na-create yung mga musical styles na alam natin sa ngayon. By the way, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, where I post all the lessons in MAPE Grade 9. And if you like this video, please leave a like and comment after the lecture has ended. So let's get started. The first thing that we are going to talk about today is medieval era. This is also known as the Middle Ages, and it is also called the Dark Ages prior to the fall of the Roman Empire, and followed by migrations, disorders, and wars. So there are several happenings during the time of the medieval era. First is the Black Death, and it was a devastating global pandemic of bubonic plague that struck Europe and Asia in the mid-1300s. Another thing is about wars. So during the time, there are several wars, and crusades were a series of religious wars initiated, supported, and sometimes directed by the Latin Church in the medieval period. The third is about kingdoms. So during the time, Europe was ruled by kings or queens, and monarchy is the form of government during the time of the medieval period. And lastly, yung pag-rise ng Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church influenced Europe's cultural and political affairs. Medieval era started on 450 to 1450 AD. So for the overview, there is what we call feudalism during the time of the Middle Ages, where peasants were bound to the land and to the lord of the manor. So they are bound to cultivate the land under the rulership of their lord. Second is people were otherworldly. They put a lot of emphasis on the afterlife. Their lives were centered on the church. Third is that monasteries were all over Europe. These monasteries preserved the writings and culture of the ancient world. And lastly, because of the domination of the early Catholic Church during this period, sacred music was the most prevalent. So as we can see, malaking talaga yung influence ng church during the time of the medieval era. As for the music, medieval music is also known as the music of the early church. So we can see that there is a preeminence of the church. It was also the central to the musical life of the people. The church is the central to the musical life of the people. Much of the preserved and dated music is sacred music or church music, or we could also say that sacred music is religious music. Second is about the vocal music. Early medieval music was performed in unison. Pag sinabi nating unison, ibig sabihin, isang tono lang, pare-pareha sila ng kinakanta. And then, medieval music was vocal, though instruments served as accompaniment. And lastly, nag-originate or nagsimula yung tinatawag natin na plain song or chant, also known as the Gregorian chant. So, a chant is a monophonic vocal music. When we say monophonic, one tone or one melody only, and it was developed according to the variety of liturgical practices and languages, meaning it is anchored dun sa mga biblical practices or dun sa mga teachings at language ng church. Next, let's talk about the rebirth of Europe, also known as the Renaissance period. It started on 1450s and ended during the 1600s. So from the French word meaning rebirth, it comes from the Italian Rinascimento or re meaning again and nascere meaning be born. So Renaissance simply means rebirth. Renaissance period is a period of exploration and adventure where voyages of Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, and Ferdinand Magellan started. So it was also the period of creativity, curiosity, humanism, and individualism that greatly shaped the arts and sciences. First, let's discuss the meaning of humanism. During the Renaissance period, the dominant intellectual movement, which was called humanism, focused on human life and its accomplishments. So humanists were not concerned with the afterlife, unlike the belief during the medieval period, or nor in heaven or hell. So though devout Christians, they were captivated by the cultures of ancient Greece and Rome. We could remember that during the time of the medieval period, yun yung start ng pagbagsak ng ancient Greek and ancient Rome. And yung Catholic Church, sobra nilang parang pinagbabawal yung mga paganistic culture ng ancient Greek at saka ancient Rome. To the point na hindi nga sila pumapayag na magkaroon ng mga musical instruments inside the church kasi they think na yung mga musical instruments na yun ay ginagamit sa pagsamba sa Diyos-Diyosan. Kaya pinagbabawal yun during the time. Kaya more on vocal music at chants lang ang ginagamit nila. Pero na pumasok itong Renaissance period, nagsimula na magkaroon ng interest, bumalik yung interest ng mga tao doon sa humanism. And yun yung nakapag-lead sa kanila na ma-appreciate yung former culture ng mga taga-ancient Greece at saka ancient Rome. So they became intoxicated by the beauty of ancient languages such as Greek and Latin and with the literature of antiquity. So humanism strongly influenced art throughout the Renaissance period. Example nga dyan is itong Creation of Adam. You can see that Creation of Adam is meron siyang influence ng Greek art. As we can see dito sa picture na to, di ba? Parang medyo kamukha nga ni Zeus yung si God the Creator dito. Although yung topic niya is still religious. So parang na-merge yung secularism at saka yung sacred na teachings ng church dito sa painting na to by Michelangelo. We can find this painting sa ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome, Vatican. Next is the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. So I will just elaborate this topic sa lesson natin sa art. And another one is Pieta, which is the scene that shows the Virgin Mary holding the dead body of Christ after his crucifixion, death, and removal from the cross. So, another one is the School of Athens, wherein this was painted by Raphael. The School of Athens, yung pinapakita dito, yung mga Greek philosophers, yung mga sikat na mga Greek philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. And of course, the famous Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, which is a Renaissance masterpiece, though it is one which has struggled to survive over the centuries kasi sobrang tagal na niya. Imagine that. It's between 1806 to 1814 siya nakreate. So, napakatagal na niya. Kaya nahirapan sila na i-preserve yung The Last Supper. So, as for the Renaissance music, kung yung medieval period is music of the church, ang Renaissance music naman is music of the court. So, court music, due to the loss of power of the church during the time of Renaissance and the new humanistic ideas, musical activity gradually shifted from church to the court. So kasi ng panahon ng Renaissance music, nagsimula na magkaroon ng different social classes. So unti-unti na bumaba yung kapangyarihan ng yung influence ng church over the society. And that is the reason why yung music nag-shift din from sacred to secular or tinatawag natin na court music particularly in terms of influence. Next is yung music education. So education was considered as a status symbol by aristocrats and the upper middle class. Also, every educated person was expected to be trained in music. So parang status symbol siya na kapag ikaw ay nakapag-aral na music, ibig sabihin ay mayaman ka or upper middle class ka. And last is yung musical production or music production. In the early 1470s, music starts to be printed using a printing press. Also during this century, a tradition of famous makers began for many instruments. So isa pa yan sa breakthrough na nangyari during the time of Renaissance. Nagkaroon ng printing press, kaya yung mga musical pieces is mas marami na yung mga napoproduce. Kaya marami na yun nakakatugtog ng mga pyesa kasi meron na silang kopya ng music. Another is a cappella. So the Renaissance period is sometimes called the golden age of a cappella choral music because the music did not need instrumental accompaniment. Maririnig natin yung mga samples ng mga a cappella music during the Renaissance period. Ito yung talagang parang peak niya, yung golden age ng mga choral singing. And then performers. Renaissance church music was performed by an entire male choir. Although women functioned as virtuoso singers at several Italian courts during the late Renaissance. And last but not the least is what we call word painting. When we say word painting, yung mga composers, they often use word painting or text painting wherein a musical representation of a specific poetic image. Ibig sabihin, kapag meron isang image or isang idea or isang, parang sabihin nyo na imagination, kung yun yung concept natin, kung ano yung nai-imagine mo, you're trying to convey it or to portray it using music. For example, happiness. So, yung the word na happiness, yun yung poetic na terminology na ginagawa. Pero yung sound ng happiness, yun yung sinasabi na musical representation. And then the music tries to imitate the emotion or natural sounds as described in the text or lyrics. Kaya nga parang yung music niya is nagkikwento or nag-express ng something or it tries to imitate your emotion or your ideas. That is what we call word painting. And lastly, let's talk about Baroque era, or also known as the Age of Elegance. The word Baroque came from the word barocco, meaning irregularly shaped pearl. So pag sinabi nating barocco, it speaks of grand, bizarre, flamboyant, and elaborately ornamented style of sculptures, theaters, arts, and music. Therefore, when we talk about Baroque style, it has several meanings. Actually, this is a derogatory term. Sabihin parang pang-insulto siya, yung term na Baroque. But though the Baroque term has various at times meant bizarre, flamboyant, and extremely ornamented, modern historians use it to simply indicate a particular style in the arts. So bakit ba nagkaroon ng ganitong kabongga? Sabi kasi natin, di ba, pag Baroque, it's the age of elegance. Bakit kaya nagkaroon ng sobrang grande, sobrang ornamented na style nung Baroque period? So the reason why is because of the happenings during the time of Baroque period. Kasi nung panahon ng Baroque period, nagsimula yung rise of aristocracy. The aristocrats were enormously rich and powerful during the 17th century up to 18th century. While most of the population barely managed to survive, European rulers surrounded themselves with luxury. So, nung panahon na to, nagsimula na maghari yung mga mayayamang tao, yung mga aristocrats. And so, kahit na sobrang hirap ng buhay, still parang ginagamit nila yung arts at saka yung music para i-flex yung kayamanan at kapangyarihan nila. And then there is what we call absolutism, where kings and princes proclaim their greatness by means of splendid palaces and magnificent court entertainments like balls, ballet, opera, plays, and banquets. So the Baroque period is also known as the age of absolutism. Many rulers exercise absolute power over their subjects. Ayan. So yun yung reason bakit sobrang bongga ng Baroque period. Kasi nga, yung mga mayayaman, fineflex sila yung kanilang kayamanan, yung kanilang kapangyarihan through their palaces, yung pinapaganda nila ng gusto yung mga palasyo nila, yung mga courts nila, pineflex nila yung kayamanan nila sa pamamagitan ng pag-hire ng mga musicians. Kaya kong mag-hire ng isang orchestra, kaya kong mag-hire ng sarili kong painter, kaya kong mag-hire ng sarili kong mga composer, ganyan-ganyan. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na absolutism. Meron silang ganong klaseng kapangyarihan na bilihin yung mga tao na maglingkod sa kanila. And the church used the emotional and theatrical qualities of art to make worship more attractive and appealing. Kasi unti-unti nang lumababa yung popularity ng church, kaya kailangan makipagsabayan na sila dun sa mga aristocrats. So, they also adapted yung style ng Baroque sa mga churches, kaya may mga ibang churches tayo nakikita even up to this date na nape-preserve na makita nyo yung sobrang ganda ng ceiling, sobrang dami ng mga details ng mga paintings, yung mga statue, yung mga altar, yung mga statues inside the churches ay sobrang gaganda, sobrang bobongga. Lahat ng yun is ginawa ng church para makuha ulit yung attention ng crowd at makatulong din syempre sa pag-worship ng mga tao. And lastly is yung status symbol. Extreme ornamentation was evident both in visual arts and in music. So the palace of Versailles, a magnificent setting that fused Baroque painting, sculpture, architecture, and garden design into a symbol of royal wealth and power. Kasi nga, syempre, dahil mga makayaman lang naman kasi talaga ang kaya makapag-afford ng Baroque na style or Baroque design. Kaya nagsisilbi siyang status symbol. Kaya nga kapag nakita tayo diba ng sobrang bongga manamit, sobrang ganda ng design ng bahay, may mga painting, palagi natin siya na-associate sa mga mayayaman. Kasi nga, yung arts during the time of Baroque period serve as a status symbol. As for the music, the Baroque music started in 1600s up to 1640s, where early Baroque composers favored homophonic texture over polyphonic texture. So, pag sinabi natin homophonic texture, it means one melody plus accompaniment. They felt that words could be projected more clearly by using just one main melody and a chordal accompaniment. So, parang felt that yung music is mas lalo ma-appreciate kung malinaw masyado yung melody, hindi tulad ng polyphonic na maraming melody na nagsabay-sabay. And then during the middle part, 1640s to 1680s, church modes gradually gave way to the major and minor scales as tonal basis for compositions. Also, rise of importance of instrumental music. So, nung panahon na yan, nawala na yung church modes. Yung church modes, ito yung sinaunang mga scale. Kundi napalitan na siya ng tinatawag natin na major tonality at saka minor tonality or major scale and minor scale. And lastly, during the late 1680s to 1750s, instrumental music was as important as vocal music for the first time. So by the late Baroque period, polyphonic texture returned to favor. So nung panahon na to, ng late Baroque is nagsimula na maging sikat yung instrumental music o yung mga orchestra, concerto grosso, kasi nga mas lalo ng na-highlight yung importance niya, yung importance ng instrumental music more than vocal music. So in summary, in the medieval era, the church is the central to the music life of the people. Much of preserved and notated music is sacred or church music. Secular music became more prominent in the so-called golden age of a cappella called Renaissance. Music became popular as an entertainment and activity for the amateur and the educated. And Baroque music is highlighted, grandiose, and elaborate. Extreme ornamentation was evident both in visual arts and in music. Aristocrats used music and arts as a symbol of royal wealth and power. So that's the end of my discussion, and I hope that you learned something from me. Leave a like and comment on this video if you like this content, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. I appreciate all the love from you guys, and see you again next time.